B&B 2020. Are you ready?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 2 of the Rich Energy British Minibikes Championship. And on what's a very busy day for Alpha Live up north, of course, it's the British 24 Hours on 4 wheels. We move down to very south in Kent on 2, and the second round of the championship in beautiful weather. At the moment, you can see on the track, we've got the Pit Bike Stock 140 Group 1 qualifying session just drawing to a close. Last few minutes to go for that. And we'll be underway with the racing very soon. But after what was a great start to the series over in Suffolk at Ella Park, we move to this spectacular Lydd circuit, very much on the south coast. We're basically in France, really. And it's that close. Lovely hot weather for spectating. It could be difficult for the riders with very hot track temperatures. My name is Chris Sora, and I'll be taking you through the afternoon's race action. So as the riders make their final preparations in the waiting zone, let's have a look at the starting grid for the SM90 Mini GP machines. Arnie Carr was the fastest rider this morning with a 47.66. What a jump from him to second place. Daniel Stevenson, 48.39. Luca Wilkinson qualified in third from Jack Newton. Hudson Cooper in fifth. Brook Champion rounding out the top 6. Billy Carter with a 55.41, seventh from Finley Hanna. Owen Tempest in ninth, Charlie Ward, and just under 1 minute lap time for Callum Maxwell on the 111 machine, rounding out the rest of the field. And actually Callum Maxwell with the novice bib on at the back of the field, so a newcomer to the class, and he'll be looking to get round, stay out of trouble and get some vital race experience. This, of course, this paddock in the British mini bikes really is suited well for some of the youth riders, the novices coming through. Gives them the chance to learn their racecraft, get more race experience. And these guys starting towards the back of the field very quickly seem to pick things up and start moving their way. And already in the last few years, we've had some of the youth stars in B&B making their way through to the adult ranks, possibly onto other forms of motorcycle racing as well. A little bit later in the month, we looked forward to one of the staple circuits of British mini bikes, round number 3, 29th and 30th of August. Deepest Northamptonshire for the round at Wilton Mill. Very popular circuit with the riders, and that'll be at the end of the month. And we go up north to Wigan and Three Sisters on the 19th and 20th of September, returning back to Wilton Mill on the 17th and 18th of October. And round number 6 back at Teesside, 1st of November. Got a big event on there today, of course, but Teesside holding the final round of the British mini bikes on the 1st of November. But we go down to concentrate on round 2 as the riders make their way out onto the track for their formation lap. Just one last look at the track. And it was pretty warm this morning. It's baking hot now for these riders compared to the qualifying. So just gives them the chance as well just to have a look at the track before they make their way onto the grid. Very fast circuit, very hot weather today for the riders as well. So, as we mentioned a few moments ago, tyre choice very important. The riders mostly, I should say, be looking for a harder compound tyre because it's very hot on the track today as well. Quite pleasant for the people in the paddock spectating on this one, but certainly could be tough for the riders, who are now lining up on the start grid now for race number 1, Junior Supermoto 90. Mini GP 90 race number 1 about to get underway. Riders on the start line, as we saw a few moments ago. The start straight here from the grid to the first corner. It's quite a short run up into that first corner, so a good getaway off the grid is vitally important because it'd be very easy for somebody further down to jump ahead into that first chicane. Sharp dogleg to the right after this start area. But There's one rider just in a bit of trouble on the start line there. The pickup marshal's just moving to one side, and in order just to be to the centre of the track. I think the riders are ready. The green flag goes up, and round number 2 of the Rich Energy British Mini Bike Series gets underway. Daniel Stevenson gets away well as they go into the first corner, and everyone through nice and gently through that first corner, staying out of trouble, and away they go. There's Callum Maxwell, we just saw him a few moments ago at the back, as Daniel Stevenson gets the jump on the field from Luca Wilkinson, and Brook champion Billy Carter in there as well. Stevenson get away from him, already starts to pull away, but Brook champion getting away well also, and there's number 83 machine just in there as well. So Daniel Stevenson, number 11, your race leader, as they make their way down towards the final corner for that first time, and you can see quite a long straight into the final corner, this long sweeping right-hander that takes us back towards the finish line. So Daniel Stevenson goes through. Arnie Carr is second on the track, although for some reason not picking up on the transponders at the moment. He's showing towards the back of the field. It's Luca Wilkinson, Brook champion Billy Carter in there as well, as the 83 of Arnie Carr really putting Stevenson under pressure as they make their way towards the top of the track. Things start to speed up now down the back straight as Carr has a look, but Daniel Stevenson's got this one into the corner, but no, down the inside, Arnie Carr, great little move there into that long sweeping corner, and Arnie Carr, fastest qualifier earlier on, is back into the lead down the straight towards the finish line once again into the long right-hander, and Arnie Carr's got that line covered. Stevenson just behind in second place, goes for the wider exit, tries to get the speed into the chicane, but at the moment Arnie Carr 83, fastest lap of the race, 47.77. Further back, Luca Wilkinson from the 464 of Brook champion Jack Newton on the move, incidentally. The 135, which you'll see moving up fourth, it would be fifth in the race itself, because Arnie Carr, for some reason, showing us a lap down at the moment. But as you can see for yourself, leading the race and guarding that inside line, you can see now that Daniel Stevenson on the number 11, really trying to find an opening, but at the moment Carr riding defensively, pulls out a small gap into the back corner, this final corner, the long right-hander towards the finish line. But Arnie Carr's got a nice sweep out of the corner. Daniel Wilkinson just behind in second place, 9 laps to go. There we see, that looks very much like Luca Wilkinson, and a bit of action further down the field as they make their way in towards the final corner. This is some of the midfield runners making their way through now. Jack Newton still on the move, moving up to fourth place. Brook champion Hudson Cooper, Billy Carter in there as well. There's the 85 actually of Billy Carter, 217. Fluorescent yellow and black machine there, that is Hudson Cooper. Close midfield battle at the moment as he makes his way through the hairpin. This is one of the more technical parts of the track. It all gets very quick from here towards the top of the circuit. This is the furthest away from the start where we are now, and the 217 Hudson Cooper chasing Brook champion down the back straight into the long sweeping S's style of corners. It just goes right, left, right, real sweeper through here. Good line choice, very important for the riders as well as they get chucked back onto the straight in towards the final corner. Still Arnie Carr leading from Daniel Stevenson, and this battle, Jack Newton, Brook champion, and Hudson Cooper charging away just behind. Should be the 85 of Billy Carter. Yes, it is, just going through the shot now into the first corner. Owen Tempest a little bit further behind, coming through now. Here is Owen Tempest on the 63, closely followed by Finley Hanna. Callum Maxwell, one of the newcomers, currently in 10th place from Charlie Ward, rounding up the field. And this is the two leaders coming through now, and it's getting close because look at number 11, Daniel Stevenson, starting now to put a bit of pressure on the race leader, Arnie Carr. Of course, they are racing in two different race categories, but out on track, battling for the lead. And Carr bravely taking the outside sweep into the top corner. Stevenson starting to put the pressure on now. Sometimes this does happen in a race where the leader takes the lead early on. That second place rider just using the advantage to have a look at where the lines they're using and where they can perhaps get a bit more speed around the track. It does seem to be happening at the moment because Arnie Carr got into the lead early on, but hasn't really pulled away. He looked quick on the first lap, but Daniel Stevenson, the number 11, early race leader in second place, is sticking with the leader at the moment. So it looks like Stevenson certainly running well in that second place. Riding smart as well, just looking at the lines that Arnie Carr is using at the moment. Now they are starting to close up on some of the tail enders. That maybe Charlie Ward in front possibly, but 83. Arnie Carr, very distinctive looking machine there, still leading the way, one of the new Ovale machines. Daniel Stevenson riding the more conventional pit bike machine in second place around the final corner, threading their way through some of the slower traffic. I think just sandwiching the leaders there for number 63, currently in 8th place, Owen Tempest. But of course Tempest knows the leaders are coming through, moved to one side at the top of the circuit, gave the racing line away to Stevenson. And Daniel Stevenson in second place, just losing a little bit of time in pursuit of the race leader. There he is, Stevenson. Arnie Carr still in front, but Stevenson showing his leader on here at the moment though in the Junior Supermoto. Looking strong as the two leaders making their way towards the final corner to complete another lap. So Arnie Carr goes through. I think maybe Billy Carter in front. And Stevenson on the number 11 looking strong. And Stevenson makes his way up towards the top of the circuit through the hairpin. One of the slower parts of the track there. We see just in front is the 85 of Billy Carter going a lap down. Around the back of the circuit they go, and Stevenson just taking his time out of the corner, not making any mistakes, and picking his way past the 85 of Carter, still showing in 6th place. A little bit further down, Owen Tempest in 8th place, Finley Hanna in 9th. Charlie Ward just crossing the line now from Callum Maxwell, 10 and 11. Are about to be lapped by the race leaders. Things start to draw towards the closing few laps. Arnie Carr making his way through. Daniel Stevenson just crossing the line. 3 laps to go in this first race of the afternoon. And at the moment, fastest lap of the race is that 47.67 from Arnie Carr. Lap times are dropping though slightly as the race goes on. There we see the 111 of Callum Maxwell. The novice viewer indicating it's a rookie rider, so this is just to indicate to some of the more experienced riders that it is a new rider. Perhaps just be a little bit courteous when they go through, make sure they don't crowd the slower rider. But he's getting around there all right actually. His fastest lap time actually for Callum Maxwell, just getting under the 1 minute mark of 59.29, so good day so far for him. Although he is at the back of the field, he's still nonetheless getting around there and putting some decent lap times in. The 2:17 of Hudson Cooper, about to be lapped by Daniel Stevenson. Cooper currently in 5th place. There we see right at the front of the field Arnie Carr. Just ahead of the number 11 of Daniel Stevenson. Wilkinson also in there as well, and they are well and truly amongst some of the slower riders. There we see still in 5th place is the 2:17 of Hudson Cooper, and right behind him, about to lap him, is the number 11 of Daniel Stevenson. And Stevenson not doing anything silly there, just taking his time, tracking the rear wheel of Hudson Cooper, getting a better drive down the back straight, and laps the slower rider as he goes into the final corner. Hudson Cooper though still running strong in that 5th place. Luca Wilkinson and Jack Newton running strongly as you head towards the last lap of the race. Back with Hudson Cooper, 1 lap down, but currently in 5th place. There we see Arnie Carr. For whatever reason, showing a little bit further down on the lap scores. He did seem to get away with the leaders though, so Arnie Carr showing us 4th on our timing screens, but ahead of the leader Daniel Stevenson. And Arnie Carr withholding a lot of pressure from Daniel Stevenson earlier in the race, but he's doing very well and pulls away as we head towards the final corner. Arnie Carr goes round the last corner and punches the air as he takes the checkered flag. Winner of race number 1 is the 83 of Arnie Carr. Putting up a good fight, but couldn't quite bring it home. Daniel Stevenson, second on the track, as one lap down goes the machine of Hudson Cooper, Brook champion, 6th. For a good start for the number 11 and the 83. Arnie Carr, of course, the rider who crossed the line in first. Came under a lot of pressure from Stevenson. Luca Wilkinson should be coming through any moment now. The two leaders really pulling away from the rest of the field as Callum Maxwell goes through to finish his race in 11th from Charlie Ward. Owen Tempest in 8th place, Finley Hanna in 9th, and the last two riders on the lead lap should be coming through in a moment to round out the rest of the field. Jack Newton, the last rider home on the track, finishing in 4th place on the 135. So it was Arnie Carr, Daniel Stevenson, Luca Wilkinson, 4th place for the 135 of Jack Newton. Hudson Cooper in 5th, Brook champion Billy Carter 7th, Owen Tempest in 8th, Finley Hanna 9th, Charlie Ward and Callum Maxwell rounding out the field for race number 1. Here we go then for race number 2 for the Junior Supermoto 90 and Mini GP. Daniel Stevenson was the fastest qualifier with 48.39 from Luca Wilkinson. Jack Newton, Hudson Cooper, 5th for Brook champion Billy Carter rounding out the top 6. Arnie Carr in 7th from Finley Hanna, Owen Tempest, Charlie Ward and Callum Maxwell in 11th position. Thanks for joining us on Alpha Live for round number 2 of the Rich Energy British Mini Bikes Championship here at Lydd in Kent on this beautiful sunny afternoon. And certainly potentially tough conditions for the riders, with the track being quite greasy in places. We've seen a few riders taking spills this afternoon, and no surprise with it being so warm, but certainly everyone enjoying the race action. And these Junior Supermoto 90 machines and Mini GPs lining up on the grid for their second race of the afternoon. Each race class has 2 races in the championship rounds. So my youngest riders aged 7 to 9 in the Supermoto Mini GP 90 machines. And again, the recurring theme really is the bikes. There is some limited modifications allowed, but very much it's especially with the machines in the Junior Supermoto 90, it's a stock engine series. Very specific and tight regulations as to what modifications can be done to the bike, and limited, if any, depending on the race categories, engine modifications allowed. The bikes are very evenly matched, so it's all down to the riders as the flag drops. Oh, but trouble there on the start line for Daniel Stevenson. A very poor getaway. Now in 3rd place, which means that Luca Wilkinson's got to jump on the field. Arnie Carr, I think, was in there as well. We'll confirm that in a moment. Hudson Cooper on the 217 gets away well. Brook champion and Billy Carter also in there as well now. I think that may be Arnie Carr at the front, 83. So 83-year race leader on the Ovale machine there. We've got the 76 of Luca Wilkinson, and recovering from his mistake is Daniel Stevenson in 3rd. Hudson Cooper, Brook champion Billy Carter in there as well. The 63 of Owen Tempest is also well placed as leaders make their way around the final corner for the first time. And it's the number 83 of Arnie Carr that leads the way. Stevenson up to 2nd place, gets down the inside of Luca Wilkinson. Hudson Cooper and Jack Newton make their way through. The 85 of Billy Carter, Brook champion Owen Tempest, Charlie Ward in 9th, and the newcomer Callum Maxwell rounding out the field in 10th position. But much like the first race here, Arnie Carr has got a good getaway. let's see what Daniel Stevenson can do. 50.91 last time round, so despite the mistake, trouble here, one rider goes off the track. I think that might be Finley Hanna, number 13. So Finley Hanna back underway, nothing serious, and rejoins the action. Arnie Carr, let's have a look at the gap here, 48.07 as Carr crosses the line. Daniel Stevenson about half a second slower in second place. Luca Wilkinson third, as Jack Newton on the 135 moves into fourth position. Hudson Cooper, Brook champion, Billy Carter in seventh, Owen Tempest going through, and Charlie Ward on the 127 just making their way through. Callum Maxwell, Finley Hanna running at the field. Let's have a look now at the 217 of Hudson Cooper, starting to look now at Jack Newton. Newton guarding the inside, going through the S's section here, the right, left, right. And, well, I think Newton has got some good lines going on through there, because pulls away slightly from Cooper. Brook champion has got past Billy Carter, as there's Finley Hanna, back of the field, trying to catch up with the rest of the field. And here's this battle now between Jack Newton and Hudson Cooper. Newton riding well and got some good lines going on now, because it's pulling away slightly from Hudson Cooper. As we see just a bit further ahead is Luca Wilkinson, and let's see what Jack Newton can do. There we see those two very close indeed. Hudson Cooper and Jack Newton battling away still for that fourth position. Brook champion just a bit further behind, and this part of the track it seems that Hudson Cooper is a bit quicker. Jack Newton got the certainly the first third of the lap. I would say that looks like Jack Newton's a bit faster, but certainly Hudson Cooper very quick in the middle part of the lap. Still Arnie Carr that leads the way and pulls the gap up to 3.5 seconds from Daniel Stevenson. Luca Wilkinson is in third position. Still the battle goes on for fourth. Jack Newton, Hudson Cooper. And again, it just seems ever so fine margins here, but it looks like Jack Newton pulls away slightly from Hudson Cooper. Now through the slow technical part of the track up towards the top corner. And now it looks like Cooper will put the pace back on again. Newton trying to guard that inside line again, but Hudson Cooper's got the drive round the outside and tries to get through, but no, Jack Newton had the apex there and pushes him wide. So it looks like Hudson Cooper will have to try and fight again. 7 laps to go. It's still Arnie Carr that leads the way by 4 seconds from second place Daniel Stevenson, Luca Wilkinson in third. Hudson Cooper, Brook champion, Billy Carter still making out the rest of the top 10. Owen Tempest, Charlie Ward in 9th, Callum Maxwell 10th, and Finley Hanna still trying to make up for lost ground in 11th position. As again we look at this battle of fourth place with Hudson Cooper and Jack Newton battling away. And again Jack Newton having to fend off Hudson Cooper around the top corner. There we see the 111 of Callum Maxwell and Finley Hanna. I think that's Finley Hanna there, number 13, trying to make out the number, but I believe that's Hanna. Started to close up on Maxwell now, so good recovery from Finley Hanna. Callum Maxwell round the final corner. And Hanna down the inside, past the line. So one of the relative rookies here, Callum Maxwell, 10th place. And that's what it's all about, really. It's just a case of getting to grips with the bike, learning the racecraft, and Callum Maxwell towards the back of the field, but doing very well as Finley Hanna tries to sweep around the outside, but no, Maxwell, I think, has got the line. They are being closed on now by the leading group of riders. Finley Hanna tries again. There we see the 135, who we were looking at a few moments ago, of Jack Newton. Hanna makes the pass, and there is the 111 of Callum Maxwell. Now being closed by the battle between Jack Newton and Hudson Cooper, still scrapping away as round the outside goes Jack Newton, dueling into the hairpin. Hudson Cooper's finally got through now. Can he hold on to the position though? Well, Finley Hanna in front, about to be lapped. It's still Arnie Carr leading from Daniel Stevenson, Luca Wilkinson. All the battle is for fourth place though. Oh, and looks like Hudson Cooper bulked slightly there believe that's Finley Hanna. We'll pick that up on the lap chart in a moment, but oh, this is bad news though for Hudson Cooper, losing valuable time. This is where the racecraft comes into play, trying to get past the slow riders as quickly as possible. No blue flags in British mini bikes. It's a case of of course, the faster riders. It's the case of finding their way through under their own merits, really. And I think, in a way, it's not really necessary for the blue flags. These riders at the back of the field, their race is just as important as the ones at the front, and nobody really intentionally gets in the way. So this is, of course, a good way of learning the racecraft for the race leaders, getting past that slower traffic. And at the moment, Jack Newton has used that to his advantage. There he is, the 135, pulling away slightly from Hudson Cooper, who's trying to regain that ground with 4 laps remaining. Arnie Carr on the number 83 is still leading the way by 5.2 seconds from Daniel Stevenson. Luca Wilkinson third. And Jack Newton doing well in that 4th place, pulling away finally from Hudson Cooper after all that pressure. 3 laps to go. Here is the race leader. Riding the Ovale machine is the 83 of Arnie Carr. Up to the back straight now. Gets past Maxwell on the 111, and Arnie Carr looking very neat indeed at the front of the field. Now down towards the back straight, there is a slow rider in front, but shouldn't cause any issues. He's got the gap at front. Arnie Carr into the top corner, and not rushing to get past the slow rider. He doesn't need to. There's 2 laps to go. Just taking his time. You see good racecraft there as he gets past the 46. Maybe Brook Champion, I think he's just lapped. And here we see riders learning the racecraft here. Right? Carr leading the way. He knows he's got a decent gap at the front. And Brook Champion coming up ahead slower. Arnie Carr just taking his time just to nip his way through. Has a quick glance over the shoulder. Managing this race very well at the moment with 1.5 laps to go. It's still Daniel Stevenson a bit further behind in 2nd place. Luca Wilkinson 3rd. And again, Arnie Carr just encountering slower traffic here, but actually just sitting behind the slow rider on the S's section and getting through on the straight rather than taking any risks of squeezing through on the corner. 1 lap to go this time round for the race leader, Arnie Carr. Last lap flag is now out. Really has been a great afternoon's work so far for Arnie Carr. Daniel Stevenson recovering from that bad start, but not really able to do anything. 9 seconds down in 2nd place. Luca Wilkinson still in 3rd. And at the moment, it looks like Jack Newton has pulled away from Hudson Cooper. Owen Tempest getting past Billy Carter on the approach to the final lap. But Arnie Carr, number 83, the rider in shot now, has led pretty much, well, has led the entire race. Taking it nice and easy, got a clear track in front of him as he makes his way down towards the final hairpin. And 83, Arnie Carr, great ride for him, great afternoon's work, comes round the final corner. Junior Supermoto 90 goes to the number 83. Arnie Carr is your race winner. Looks like it's going to be Daniel Stevenson in 2nd place. So Stevenson, there goes Finley Hanna. Brook Champion a lap down in 6th place. Daniel Stevenson crossing the line in 2nd place. And still that battle going on just ahead. Last 2 riders on the lead lap actually are Newton and Cooper. But Arnie Carr, the race victory. It's going to be 3rd place for Wilkinson. And Jack Newton, there they are, just ahead of the race winner. Last 2 riders on the lead lap. Jack Newton and Hudson Cooper battling for the entire race. Here they go. Oh, it's close to the line, but Jack Newton holding off Hudson Cooper in that battle for 4th position. Very good. Here we go then. So looks like we're going on to the last lap. Very close indeed. Now, of course, the race leader is closing up on this battle. Nips round the outside of Hudson Cooper into the top corner. And Arnie Carr, so it looks like we are going for an extra lap in this race. Carr down the back straight, battling, the 2 riders battling for 4th place, gets past them quite easily. And Arnie Carr through the S's, what will be the final time, down the straight towards the hairpin. It looks like the 4th place rider, 135, Jack Newton, is going to hold on to that 4th place, but round the final hairpin. goes the number 83 of Arnie Carr, punches the air as the checkered flag goes out, and your race winner, 83 Arnie Carr, and that great battle for fourth place, the 1:35 of Jack Newton, fastest lap of the race for him at least on the final lap. Daniel Stevenson recovers to that second place after that trouble at the start, 12.2 seconds down on the winner, and only 3 riders remaining on the lead lap. The 46 of Brook Champion goes through in 6th position. Finley Hanna crosses the line, actually didn't get past Callum Maxwell, who gets into the top 10. But congratulations to Arnie Carr, number 83, your double moto winner in the Junior Supermoto 90. Great riding from him, and we'll be back underway in just a few moments' time.
Racing. Both of you, that was quality.
Fella, good ride. Yeah. So close to having Jack. What a race. Good. Yeah.